Alrighty, guys, we are back. It's your boy Q, and up next we have the problem with Drake and Taylor Swift. Shout out to Vinny Guarino for the video. Both these artists have definitely been going through like a major identity crisis as of late. Obviously, for different reasons that they'll probably get into in this video. I think something that they share is the fact that they haven't really grown up. I'm pretty sure that's probably what they're gonna touch on, like because Taylor's thing is whole like the teenage like love story and the teenage this. She kind of sounds like she's like a high schooler when you hear her records, and yeah, she's one of the most successful acts of all time. But there is a certain point where things like it kind of happen to like bands like Coldplay and Nickelback, where they get so big and so popular that it becomes cool to like hate, you know? But not like they don't do things to like make it a little easier for them to be disliked. But yeah, shout out to Vinny Guarino for the video. And again, it's entitled The Problem with Drake and Taylor Swift.
This is Drake and Taylor Swift, and this is a McDonald's Happy Meal. What do they have in common? Never growing up made them billions.
Exactly.
Drake and Taylor Swift are the McDonald's Happy Meal of the music industry. Just choose which toy.
Dude, they're super corporate-y, you know? Lucian Grain, the people behind some of these like acts are, dude, these guys have the machine behind them. Even me being signed as a producer, you hear it all the time. Like hits aren't made, they're bought, you know? So take that as you will.
What you want with your burger. They're the biggest in the business, their output is endless, and no matter how much criticism is thrown their way, it feels like nothing can stop them. Over their near 20-year careers, they've managed to stay relevant with people not only their age, but also have cultivated these massive fan bases with groups of people who weren't even born when their first singles charted. Right. But as they continue to reach these new unprecedented...
Well, that's the Drake stimulus package is like a double-edged sword. Like, yes, these artists are getting like this huge put on by this major artist, you know? And yeah, people are going to click on that. Little babies, there's so many that the list goes on and on, honestly. But like, they're also using the younger artists because they're buzzing off of their sound, they're buzzing off of their hype. And that's how a lot of these people like stay on for so long, you know? It's pretty smart and calculated. Jay has been known to do that. These people know who to like get next to. They know who to like do features with and stuff like that. But I will say this: once that new artist, if they're buzzed down or anything like that, don't expect a feature. Don't expect even a callback. You can ask McConan and then honestly a plethora of other artists that have kind of like voiced their displeasure with the fact that like, yo, dude, you only really talk to me when I'm hot. But like my mentor told me, if you're not useful, you're useless. And I know that's just crazy, but these people are a calculated bunch, man. Industry is wild.
The heights of fame and fortune, it does feel that it's been at the cost of what could have been. While their contemporaries like Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar continue to redefine the boundaries in which stars their level can break through, Drake and Taylor Swift are seemingly content with who they are. Almost like how McDonald's will always be McDonald's, SpongeBob will always be SpongeBob, and Nike is Nike. Even as we get older, as brand images in our heads, they remain a constant. But Drake and Taylor are human beings that mentally and physically age. I mean, sure, they have tricks to keep them young and fresh, but in watching them attempt to keep their secret formula intact, their flaws have begun
the face tattoos and stuff like that, definitely trendy things to do,
shining through the cracks. The problem with Drake and Taylor Swift isn't that they're lazy. The problem is that at a certain age, you realize McDonald's isn't good for you. Today we're going to be answering the questions of what is the problem with Drake and Taylor's music, what separates them from other superstars of today, their brand, and most importantly,
evolution.
We outgrown them. So yeah, Taylor's last album sucked.
I put careers on shelves like Amazon distribution center. Hell, really hate to call on broski for the dirty work. I'd rather do it by myself.
Taylor Swift could sell a blank disc and do $2 million first week. And if the Torture Poets department showed us anything,
dude, she's like literally the reason why like we're having this huge shortage of vinyl records, which is why a lot of artists are hating, because they're like, not only is it hurting their environment, but there's people that would like to press vinyls themselves that are kind of like pissed off about that.
It's that it doesn't matter what this girl does, the fans will support it. I think a lot of level-headed critics and listeners are puzzled by its gargantuan runtime, aimless production, and uninspired lyrics. And while it's clear certain outlets definitely gave writing duties to in-house Swifties to avoid any backlash or to be rewarded by Taylor retweeting or posting the review.
Of course, man. At the end of the day, these publications want like these artists, like they want to cultivate those relationships. These people don't want to lose out on that interview. So best believe they're going to be a little biased when it comes to reporting on certain things, you know? and certain artists. They're not gonna like go as hard, and yeah, they're masters at spin. They can spin anything.
Views on her Twitter. The weekend the album dropped seemed to bring Taylor discourse to an all-time high in a year that already had a lot of Taylor Swift discourse in it. And where the fire was brought to Taylor, it's been at the feet of Aubrey for some time, especially in the last year. Whether it's Mos Def saying Drake makes music for shopping at Target, Joe Budden's array of criticisms for All the Dogs, or their day in the court of public opinion this year. And maybe
man, a moment of silence, man, because damn, Kendrick, you drop kicked him.
Good reason, because listening to the Torture Poets Department and For All the Dogs and hearing lyrics like touch me while your bros play Grand Theft Auto and feel like I'm bi because you're one of the guys, girl, is kind of insane when you consider that both these people can run for president. Well, actually not Drake because, you know, Canadian.
Yeah,
Throwing all those together, it's made me look a lot closer at not only those albums, but everything they've ever put out.
No, man, if you look at how, at least for Drake, dude, everyone's combing every bit of his discography looking for like inconsistencies and stuffs to back up their arguments, and you know, and obviously it's like this beef is probably the biggest story in hip hop in a very long time. Like I don't think anyone can argue that. But yeah, man, they're gonna look back. Yeah, now every little weird line that's talking about a younger woman or anything like that is gonna get scrutinized. Dude, once you put your art out there, it's like it's open for criticism. And somebody like Drake, you can't be surprised that people are going to go through everything and just, dude, the internet has all the time in the world, fam.
And I started to notice something.
Why you gotta fight with me at Cheesecake? You know I love to go there.
I think it's safe to say that Drake and Taylor Swift enjoy making music for the masses. And why wouldn't they? A lot of perks come with being as big as the Pope. Money, power, respect, but most of all, an audience. And as a creative, the idea of someone listening to your music or using your voice as a vessel for their own feelings, it's a pretty powerful thing. And it's not like their grip on the music industry doesn't make any sense. Their simplicity and every man, every girl relatability have always been a part of the appeal. They did this when they both were cosplaying as Southern Americans, and they managed to still do it today from their private jets. Also, side note.
Yeah, man, people don't know Drake. They tried to make Drake hot. They couldn't do it, so they sent him down to Houston. This is why he has such a love for like Texas and Houston, because he kind of absorbed the culture, and that's why they have a special spot in their heart for him. But yeah, man, the dude. Yeah, I feel like they all play roles. I want to say Taylor Swift is from Jersey or something, or Pennsylvania. But yeah, these people are playing a role.
No, did you know Taylor Swift was from Pennsylvania and
there
not like
go.
Nashville or the South? Like, she grew up an hour out of Philly, genre hopping, riding waves, collaborating, co-signing whoever's popping at the moment. They've done it all. But it's clear that the music, no matter what tints applied to it, all follow very similar tropes and cliches. The good old if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality.
Of course.
And going through the discography,
the lovesick high school sweetheart love type of love.
You could start dropping the songs in the same couple of buckets. Like you got the breakup songs, the all the haters anthems, the love songs, the party songs. You Belong to Me and Marvin's Room are about being the better option for someone, but so are Rich Baby Daddy and Fortnite, just, you know, with a senior citizen discount. Their sounds may change here and there, but only within the confines that they've created for themselves. It's almost like they noticed a long time ago that operating in these areas of playlists and living in this constant state of coming of age and heartbreak and youth not only will resonate with the youth who control what is.
Of course, these like kids can relate to the subject matter that they're touching on. Makes all the sense in the world. A lot of this stuff is all algorithm based. They know everything from like the shoes to like the hairstyle you wear. Everything is factored in through like what is the algorithm? How is the algorithm going to take to this? You know, it's freaking crazy. I want to say Eminem wears the shoes he wears because of the same reason. Somebody was like, hey, the percentage of the country that likes you with these sneakers is this. We should go with this. And he's worn them ever since. Like, it's the music business at the end of the day. Even though, like, they are, like, putting out art and stuff like that.
Isn't popular, but those hopelessly romantic teenagers and jaded lover boys who never grew up past those days and went on to become nostalgic adults. And speaking of nostalgic adults, check out my last video on the nostalgification of pop music, but only after you watch this one because, you know, we gotta keep the retention up. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button.
Shout out to
I
him,
do these
man.
videos about pop culture and niche topics that I really enjoy, but also so that my friends and family don't have to hear me yap on and on and on about things like Drake and Taylor Swift.
Facts, man. That's why we're here, fam.
Like, just listen to the fucking radio. Stop being a maniac. But there's got to be some soul out there that also likes this type of thing. So definitely hit like and subscribe, and let's get back to the show. But I don't know. At this point, I'm just starting to see it more as wasted potential. Like, I was talking to a friend the other day, and they were like, I like Drake the way he is. I don't want Drake getting political. Why would I ever want that? And not that I'm...
Well, you don't want to, obviously, that's why they don't like touch on subject matters as far as like the conflicts that we have going down right now, because it's going to alienate a part of their fan base. And like Jordan said, even like what he said, even like Republicans buy sneakers or something like that. So it's like at the end of the day, they're all about the money, man. That's like the bottom line.
I'm looking for his thoughts on inflation or the military-industrial complex, but I think an album about being a child of divorce and then yourself becoming a single father as the biggest rapper in the...
Which I feel like he could definitely pull up. It's definitely in his lane, you know? It's just... I don't know if maybe they're scared of evolution. If I change, like, are people still gonna love me? But like, bro, you have to grow up.
World would be, I don't know, unique, but also relatable. It made me think more deeply about what we want and expect from artists versus what they could offer us. Like, we loved Graduation, but we didn't know we needed 808s and Heartbreak. The Beatles stopped touring and doing shows so they could focus solely on themselves and making the best music, and they did. Imagine Pharrell didn't tell Tyler, the creator, what Jimmy Iovine told him about house music. It's almost like Drake and Taylor Swift became so big and so successful that they created an expectation of what their music needs to be. And they feel every release needs to check off every box. I mean, Drake's even gone on to say this.
I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be able to ever make like a 12, 13 song album, but only because I have to do two things every album. I have to give the people that like to hear the singing enough to hold on to, and I have to give Braun enough bars for him to, you know, that.
And even when they attempted...
And not only that, they're also playing the streaming game. Like, there's a reason why he has 100 billion streams. Like, some of these... The last few, maybe not so much, but the dude has put out records where there's like 30 plus songs on some of these, you know? Like they're legitimately playlists now at that point. But like, yeah, it's like Future. Sometimes it's like people want to hear R&B Future. Sometimes people want to hear like trap Future, which is why he did the same thing on his latest offering, you know, with Metro. Like there was a whole second disc, which can't even call it disc, but that's how they labeled it, of just trap joints on there. Fire as well, but it's like just to satisfy... Because I know people were probably going in seeing if there was any more like Drake beef in there and stuff like that. And there probably, there was a few like A$AP Rocky and The Weeknd, but nothing with the impact of like Kendrick and the Like That record that they pulled off, you know? But yeah, I could see why. You do have to like cater to everybody, but at the end of the day, you're an artist, you know? Kendrick is not really getting swayed about what the public may want. He's giving them literally what he's inspired to make, you know? So this honestly probably why the music resonates so much with people, because it's like it's coming from he's following a muse, he's following his muse, and he's not just like putting stuff out just to put it out. If he wanted to, he could drop a record every week, you know? It's like, but he seems like the type that really does move when he's inspired, and I feel like right now his inspiration is at an all-time high.
To go left, it's not like they weren't diving into topics they hadn't already explored ad nauseum, or had let someone else go in the house first to see if it was safe. And for as much as I enjoyed those albums, you're only left wishing they'd taken it further. Especially in an age where they're sharing the superstar label with stars like Beyonce and, we're gonna get to that. Just let me cook for a second.
Hello again, friend of
Drake and Taylor, what's the world?
Now, I don't think there's two people you could put up against Taylor Swift and Drake that disprove the idea more that artistic integrity needs to be sacrificed in exchange for streams and sold out tours than Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar. We've seen Beyonce go from pop diva to one of American music's great deconstructors with her last 3 albums, exploring everything from genre to race to feminism to love to family to even music and American history. And this is coming from a woman who's 25 years in, has 3 kids and more money than God. I think the beauty of the last 3 Beyonce albums is just how hungry she sounds. The ideas are pulsating from every corner of every...
Of course, and she surrounds herself with some amazing production and doesn't really like allow herself really to get pigeonholed into any one style of like music. She's put out a country record, you know? It's like she's gonna make what she wants to make when she feels inspired. Yeah, some of it could be, people can say, oh, you're only doing this because it's hot or whatever, but yo, dude, for me, as long as the music sounds dope and it sounds authentic, like that's really what people really care about, you know? Like at least like the casuals. She's been able to go in there and really kill it. Really, really kill it.
every track. And what she's bringing to the table at times is so grandiose and so maximalist
Still
and
Beyonce.
so thought out that the only thing I could do while listening to a song like Yaya off Cowboy Carter for the first time was cry. Not because she was striking an emotional chord or she hit home, because to me as a music fan, I was listening to one of the biggest artists alive craft this massive rock country crossover track, talking about everyday people and the struggles they go through, with lines like whole lot of red in that white and blue, history can't be erased. Like, come on. Even if it's not her life today, it feels like someone speaking through her. She's painting these incredible visuals in my head, not only because she won't drop a music video, but because everything is so...
You still give credit to the writers as well. It's a collaborative effort, definitely. She's interpreting it and she's like killing it, the performance, and it's definitely like a piece of her vision as well.
Detailed sonically. It's unlike anything I've ever heard her do before, and something I can never interchange with a cutoff 4 or self-titled or Lemonade. It's that kind of artistry that shows you the true power of what popular music can achieve, just like the discography of Kendrick Lamar, which is aimed to dive deeper and deeper into who Kendrick really is. Good Kid, Mad City's glimpse into his life as a young adult growing up in Compton, To Pimp a Butterfly's grappling with fame, fortune, and searching for answers,
amazing
Damn's
concept
reflection on
albums,
destiny and life's choices, and of course, Mr. Morale's exploration of his savior complex, childhood traumas, infidelity, and fatherhood. Ultimately, those are...
Yeah, man, people make him seem, I've said it in videos before, but people make it seem like he's some like newbie, when like his latest tour was like, at the time, the highest grossing rap tour ever. There's certain narratives that get put out that are ridiculous, and it's crazy. Like, I guess if people say it enough, it's actually the truth. It does work out in other facets of life. If you say it enough, people will believe it. It's crazy.
Artists go places that can only exist on those specific albums by those specific artists. Like, could you imagine Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Drake, or Taylor Swift's Renaissance? I got gambling issues, that's on me. See, like, that would be fire. This is what I'm talking about. This kind of reinvention, this kind of introspection from aging celebrities is what separates the Beyoncés and Kendricks from the Taylors and Drakes. Two people using their platforms to shine a light on an array of different topics, exploring new sounds and challenging themselves every step of the way. And in that, they've grown and continue to grow with their
I will say this, like the sounds are changing for at least Drake. The production is evolving and stuff like that. It's just the subject matter of what he's like rapping, and it's the lyrical content. That's the issue. The production isn't the issue. It's definitely the subject matter.
Audience, you know, instead of whatever the hell's going on here.
Oh, here we go again. The voices in his head called the rain to...
Torture Poets Department is like if one of those monotone TikTok day in the life about living in a major city things was a 2-hour album. I mean, what else can I say that hasn't been said already about this? It's a snooze fest, thanks in help to its lifeless and mundane production, which in my search for something to grasp onto on this album, only amplified the repetitive lyrical content. And by the end of this 2-hour experience, I was deflated. I was tired, and I just did not give a fuck. I don't care about the British guy you thought you were gonna marry. I don't care about the other British guy you dated who made some of my
Oh, she's a big name dropper as well, man.
favorite songs. I don't care about your haters because you have $1 billion. I don't care about your feud with Kim Kardashian anymore. I just don't care anymore because I've heard you do this again and again and again
Yeah,
and
no
again
evolution.
and again and again and again for years. And before you go, well, what about all the other artists who only write love and breakup songs? What about Ariana Grande? What about Frank Ocean? What about SZA? I mean,
Yeah, you could say that a lot of their stuff, but they're not giving you 2 albums a year and just like beating their sound. When you hear these artists, it's refreshing to hear them again. You know, I think that's a huge difference.
1, come on, but 2, volume. They aren't releasing 20 plus song albums all the time. They aren't re-releasing their entire catalog of music. They aren't now on a multi-year Eras tour. They get the benefit of the doubt because our time with them is so limited. Taylor's created a business model where you can't get away from her.
touring every
She's
year.
inevitable. And
She's touring like so is Drake. But yet you sign these big deals and people want their money back. They want a return on their investment. This is why you see them dropping all this music and going on back-to-back tours not really letting it sit and breathe.
For some, not even some, most, it's a glorious time. But for others, I don't know, it feels kind of suffocating. Because with this person constantly right in front of me, it becomes hard to not notice everything. Like
can't miss
how
them.
repetitive the music is. Not even lyrically, but from like a music theory standpoint. Or even how backhanded her attempted accountability have always sounded. Or how often she revisits the same themes and topics. Or even how
Well, you haven't. Maybe it's because they're not living life experiences. You're just literally on tour, so there's nothing to pull from. But like past themes and past like relationships, when all you do is tour and just go from hotel to hotel, and you're not really living life. That's where the muse comes into like play, you know?
she dresses to evoke the feeling of a teenager coming of age. Normally, I'd say this is me looking way too much into things, but part of the Taylor Swift brand is to look this deeply into everything. And in that, I can't help but notice the assembly line she's created of different versions of this Cinderella story, where she's just waiting for this happy ending because the world is full of evil stepmothers and stepsisters and false Prince Charmings. That's drama that will and always will sell records, even when you're, again, 35 years old and fly a private jet to Costco. And she's not even hiding it. She wears it on her sleeve. But that's what the Torture Poets department and the Eras tour and the Taylor's versions are. Taylor Swift unapologetically being the Taylor Swift we've known since Taylor Swift. All's fair in love and poetry, like she says. But at a certain point, what are you even...
The thing is, once you put art out, you're opening it up for critique. That's just how it works, you know? It's just a part of the game.
Fighting for. It's similar criticism I have for Drake's For All the Dogs. So while yes, I think works a lot more than the Poets thing did, but at a certain point, it feels like I'm only visiting places I've already been 1,000 times.
Fatality.
Oh man, the nuke.
Fight is over! Oh, we landed
Drake's 2024 has been wild, to say the least. In what
Yo, man, for everyone that said that record wasn't gonna last, man, you were sadly mistaken, man. I told y'all, fam.
many would call hip-hop's greatest battle, Drake was taken down by Kendrick Lamar. It ended in what felt like an Avengers Endgame-esque finale. Drake dropped his 8-minute red button diss track, Family Matters. It's got Drake at the peak of his powers. Catchy hook, barring up over a
honestly,
drill beat,
the
shooting in
arrangement
all
was amazing
directions,
on that record.
and then that masterpiece of a third beat comes in.
Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now.
It was unbelievable for about 20 minutes.
Oh man, it was deflated because I don't know if you guys saw like Act Stream or just like the shift in energy, you know? Like when Kendrick dropped when he dropped Meet the Grams, like it sucked all the air out the room, you know? It did not give the record room to breathe. It stifled it, changed the whole tone and the conversation within 20 minutes. Someone that had the narrative that basically he couldn't drop frequently. He just couldn't write fast enough. He couldn't create fast enough, and he proved everybody wrong. I mean, still the dude still has 5 like songs in the tuck, and best believe I'm pretty sure he's been diligently in the studio recording more. So there's probably even some more that he's like stacked on that as well. But yeah, man, when he dropped that record, it sucked all the air out the room, and Family Matters just came and went.
Kendrick drops Meet the Grams, and then the next night drops Not Like Us, and it was
back to
over.
back,
It's like
fam.
if Drake is McDonald's. Kendrick was that Super Size Me documentary you watched in health class. Because what Kendrick was able to do in the course of about a week to Drake was take everything he's done, the way he acts, his biggest missteps, bad habits, his age, and just shined a light on them all. Shined a light on his inauthentic music and persona. Shined a light on his obsession with his image, whether that be the certain things he might have done to change his look, or Yachty's influence on his fashion and music to help him appeal to younger crowds. Shined a light on his misogyny. Shined a light on his weird history with women younger than him. Shined a light on his non-stop partying and gambling, especially now that he's a father, and then introducing the idea that there may be another secret kid that he has. All Kendrick had to do to beat Drake was just remind us who Drake is. A 37-year-old man-child who can't let go of his youth. Now, I don't believe that Drake is a PDF file or that he's hiding another kid.
Nah, the thing doesn't have to be true for it to really hurt your public opinion, man. It's anything Drake related. Yeah, I want to say even Camila Cabello, who just released her album, and on the album they have 2 tracks where they collaborated with each other. And like, dude, the comments under that CC post was crazy. It was just a bunch of like, oh, V-ho, he not like us, or you not like us anymore. It's literally like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these comments, like insane.
kid. I think there was a lot of allegations thrown around this beef because it was rap beef and salacious things will always win. Just like what Drake said about Kendrick. But his actions, his behaviors now as an, again, 37-year-old man haven't done him any favors. The fact that we didn't even put it past him that he may have another secret kid tells us everything we need to know about our relationship with Drake these days. He's an unreliable narrator, spinning the tale of why me when you can trace all the issues back to what he's done. Even Kendrick going as far as he did with Drake is because Drake took it there by bringing up his fiance and his kids. Whether or not whatever summer vibes are coming or going to hit is still up in the air. But I mean, he's already rapping over the BBL Jersey beat with Sexy Red like it's a joke to him. He's already out there doing features. He's making public appearances at
It's crazy that he put the ice on a lot of other features, but let that like Snow Day record through, which is crazy. After a time when you knew you'd be the most scrutinized.
Concerts, and he's back in Turks partying. There wasn't some long hiatus or a Kanye-esque exile to go make a masterpiece. Nah, it's just business as usual again. And I think ultimately he's gonna be fine because all he has to do is drop another In My Feelings or Tootsie Slide or Money in the Grave like he did in the year and change that followed the Pusha beef. That trick worked on me when I was 21, but there was a whole generation that had to go through a similar come to Jesus moment back then too. And now I'm here re-listening to March 14th and re-listening to that amazing outro. You know where Drake's over the piano and I'm like,
so that was a lie.
At this point, it's been made clear by both Drake and Taylor Swift that there is no interest in the worlds that a lot of us are heading towards. There isn't an interest in challenging their audience beyond the music they've repackaged for us over the last 2 decades. Because Drake and Taylor Swift, the brands, are intrinsically tied to being young. And like most brands, they have to adapt. They have to cater to the audiences that keep the lights on in the music industry. So that's why Drake is rapping about being in the club with 21-year-olds. That's why he only talks to meme interviewers and streamers. Why he subs.
Well, those meme, it's because that hip-hop journalism and the media has really turned towards the internet. People don't really do like the radio runs. People aren't doing like interviews like that. They'd rather go on with a streamer. I mean, look what Kevin Hart did with Kai and Nicki did with Kai. And or how the success Bobby's getting and stuff like that. Like, that's like the new media now. So that's why you almost have to do that stuff.
His famous exes on songs like an 18-year-old would on a not-so-cryptic Instagram story. Why he resorts to name-calling on social media when it comes to anyone that questions him. Or how Taylor not-so-subtly makes references to the famous celebrities she's dated or the feud she's had with them in efforts to villainize them. Or repost positive.
That's why them Kennedys was like, yo, stay the hell away from our son.
Reviews of her latest album to signal the media outlets that if you like her, she'll bless you with traffic. And if you don't, she knows the fan base she has behind her will always come to bat for her. Or how she's down bad. Or titling songs, But Daddy, I Love Him. Or I Can Fix Him, I Really Can. When you look at them from this view, it's all starting to feel so high school. Because that's the audience they know they need to keep their grip on. The nostalgic adults will still go to an Eras tour, but we need the kids to keep streaming. We need the kids to be posting about us on social media. We need to keep the illusion alive that we're just like you. And it's not just what they want you to think, it's what Universal Music Group wants you to think as well.
Yeah. I'm outside and
Taylor Swift and Drake are signed to Universal Music Group, and if you've been living under a
yeah, fam, they're like over 70% of like the music industry is like in their catalog.
Or maybe you know about one, but not the other. At the end of the 2010s, the music industry was at a pretty pivotal moment where independence was on the rise, and some of the superstars were suddenly free agents, and there was a lot of talk about what was going to happen if a Drake or a Taylor said, I'll do it myself. Taylor's Reputation and Drake's Scorpion were their final albums on their deals with who they came into the industry with in the first place, and now it's time to re-up. They both were already associated with Republic Records and UMG through their prior deals, but now they literally could do whatever the hell they wanted. And long story short, they both signed 2 massive deals with Universal Music Group and Republic Records, and Drake has been pretty braggadocious in his music about the deal because it's estimated to be for around $400 million. And UMG would not.
Which explains the never-ending tours. You know, you got paid back that money. That money's basically in advance, the loan.
Not only be aligned with Drake musically, but also on his merchandise, touring, or really any projects he was trying to be a part of. And from the looks of it, Taylor may have also signed a similar deal. While she's kept a lot of it under wraps, I did some poking around on the terms and services on our online store, and UMG's involved with her merchandise.
Yeah, these are 360 deals. They're getting a cut off everything you do. I want to say most like record deals now, like if they get you on with music and you do a modeling gig or you do something like that, normally look at the language in the contract. They're going to be taking a percentage of everything, all that stuff.
As well. So now when I talk about these people as brands, that's what they are. It's like Disney owning Star Wars and Marvel, or Warner Brothers owning Harry Potter and DC Comics.
Printing money
Drake
with
and Taylor
them.
Swift are the most important franchises of Universal Music Group. And as partners with them, even if
Let's just say this. Back in the day, Gaga had an album that sold like less than they expected, and they had to like fire like 30% of the staff. You know, like some of these artists are too big to fail. If they do fail, it's like it can wipe out like half like these departments and these record labels. Like if a Drake album flops, yeah, we're gonna fire and we're gonna downsize for a little bit, because they almost make so much that they recoup for a lot of the other acts that are losing money, because they'll sign 10 people and hope that 2 or 3 of them really pan out, and that pays for it all and more.
if they have creative control, they all want to be mutually beneficial to each other, because the money will always talk, and we know Drake and Taylor like their money. So the nonstop releases of music since 2018, the massive tours they've been on, the onslaught of merchandise, the vinyl variants and remixes, all make sense, because they aren't just musicians anymore. Their IP, their franchises, their brands, and sometimes when a brand loses its identity, you can lose people.
Yeah.
Age is a motherfucker and time is our greatest foil. Getting old sucks. These last few years have been tough for me because I never envisioned my life this far. Not in some weird depressing way, but I just never imagined being an adult. It was just a foreign concept to me. And now that it's here, it's hard. What Drake and Taylor Swift meant to me and a lot of people my age is important. You can trace back many moments of my life with their music soundtracking them.
No, of course, they were the soundtrack to a lot of people's lives, man. Like, you can tie memories to a lot of these records. A lot of people can anyway.
And to me, that's the power of art. But getting older also means letting go and realizing that some things just aren't meant for you anymore. 2024 feels like a long time coming for a lot of our relationships with Drake and Taylor Swift. And this video and the choice of pairing these two artists together is because I felt that throughout both sides of the discourse surrounding them, that I was going through this similar day of reckoning as a Drake fan that a lot of Taylor fans were going through in these last few months as well. Thus, you know, McDonald's Happy Meal. In the end, your art is your art. And I can't dictate what they can and can't make because I'm not them. I'm just a dumb idiot with a camera. And expecting that they're gonna come along with me for the ride is like me going on a diet and asking McDonald's to make the food for my needs now. That's not realistic because McDonald's doesn't need me. And as I walk out the door, there's already another little kid ready to take my spot. It's all a cycle, and Drake and Taylor Swift are part of that cycle. Just like how SpongeBob is still SpongeBob and Mario is Mario. And Winnie the Pooh, let's just pretend that doesn't exist.
That monstrosity.
Winnie the Pooh is still Winnie the Pooh. The problem isn't that they're lazy or wasting their potential. It's that we are having trouble in letting go of something that's not made for us anymore. And that's okay, because it's part of growing up. But my God, could I smack a burger right now?
I tried with you.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Vinny for the video. But yeah, like I was saying in the intro, both those artists are going through a huge identity crisis. Like, I wonder how they pivot. I wonder how they're able to change the narrative, if they can or if they do. People are not very fickle when it comes to like their entertainment. There'll be backlash and they'll be easily swayed with like a nice radio hit. At least the masses. Like most people don't really care. And maybe this is enough to get them to evolve and be a little more introspective and really come from a place of authenticity. Who knows? That'd definitely probably be the smartest move. But like sometimes these people, like I said, are just too big to fail, and they have to keep the wheels moving. Like the machine, like they literally both sign those deals, and those deals are so big that they're gonna take a minute for them to recoup. Because like people bring up these numbers of like, all right, this tour grossed like 100 million or whatever, but like as soon as you start taking away production costs and dude, just like if you're over by a minute or two, they'll like fine you like 10 grand for like each minute. Some of these places, it's not all profit. So when you hear 100 million, it might only be 70, it might only be 50. Who knows? I don't know the math, but it's a nice chunk is knocked off of production costs, especially some of these big acts who put on these epic shows. Like Travis Scott puts a lot back into his productions. You can tell pyrotechnics, these huge screens and stuff like that. It all takes a lot of money. So like they're not, if they're making that 100K or if they're grossing 100 million, doesn't mean that they made 100 million. Honestly, most times nowhere near it. But like, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how both these artists pivot. Like, I'll go on some of these forums or on some of these comments, and like, dude, I don't think they've ever felt this in their career, Taylor or Drake, respectively, ever. The last few Drake songs that he's released, like they literally have gotten more dislikes than likes, and that's rare air for him. It doesn't really occur to him. He's been kind of like hinting that he's gonna re-engage in the beef, but you do got to be careful because if you get messed up in round two, like how do you come back from that? You know, it was already difficult the first time. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Definitely hit the like, subscribe button, guys. It does your channel wonders. Thank you guys so much, man. You guys are, dude, the combos in the comments are always freaking dope. But yeah, I hope you guys love this video and I hope to see you guys soon. The next goal is 5K by the end of the year, and I think we're gonna beat that by a mile, is what I'm thinking with the growth we've been having. But yeah, it's all thanks to you guys. So yeah, hope to see you guys soon. Dope video, man.